Judith, you will have to abort this thing you have in your stomach, I mean get rid of it. I didn't sign up for it in any way.
Judith was a young promising girl of age 24, she just concluded her first degree and finished serving her father's land, youth service. She got a job in Lincoln Williams' firm as his secretary. Her full name was Judith Nicholas, an Igbo girl who hails from the eastern part of Nigeria, from Enugu state. She was light-skinned girl, clear definition of light and beautiful, tall with her pointed nose and beautiful lips. She had started working with Lincoln Charles some few months back. She was naive but intelligent, the way she walked was intriguing. It all started one Friday evening, when Lincoln Williams had to stay past time in the office, and Judith had to wait for her boss to finish and help out with what he was doing. Little did she know that the boss was facing a rough day at home, and he purposely stayed in the office to avoid going home to his wife, who constantly nags at him. What is my boss still doing in his office by this time? Oh my God, I'm so tired, and I need to go home and rest. But wait, my boss has never left this office this late. Is everything okay? I think I need to go to his office and check on him.
Yes, who is it? Come in.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I came to tell you that it's already getting late.
You can go.
Judith noticed a glass of alcohol drink on the table, beside her boss. Sir, have you been drinking?
Yes, I have been drinking. I want to drink away my sorrows.
Judith went over to his table to collect the remaining glass of wine, and bottle in his boss' hands. She took the glass, and dropped it on the other end of the table. Sir, you have to go home now, your wife would be worried.
She doesn't care, she doesn't.
As Judith made effort to carry up her boss, their head met together.
Do you know that you are beautiful?
Lincoln was already drunk. Sir, I need to take you home.
I want to kiss you, can I? Please, to forget my sorrows.
You are drunk, sir.
But not too drunk to notice how beautiful you are.
Sir, please, don't do that.
I wish I met you before her.
You are drunk, sir. Lincoln kissed her again, and that was it, she couldn't resist. She couldn't figure out why she gave in that easily. And since then, they two has been secret lovers. Lincoln would always tell Judith how he had intention of filing for divorce with his wife for over a year now. The divorce never happened, not until now she learned that she was pregnant, and she thought it would be a reason to make their relationship public, because she had already fell deeply in love with her boss.
You will get rid of that thing in your stomach.
The word of Lincoln kept ringing in the ears of Judith. Was I been played? Did he ever love me? Was I used? Several thoughts ran through the mind of Judith's. Judith decided to think of way to be in the life of Lincoln once again. Lincoln came back home later that day at night, he was obviously drunk. Welcome home, husband. You didn't tell me you had married a new wife. Judith was seated on the couch in Lincoln's house. She had already told Rose, Lincoln's wife, what had happened. Judith, make yourself comfortable. As you can see, our husband is drunk for the night. There is still food in the kitchen in case you're hungry. Tomorrow we will discuss this properly. Use the bedroom by the left, Rose told Judith and went to bed. Judith was scared when her boss wife accepted her that easily, and even told her to sleep over. All she had in mind was to come tell the wife what the husband has done. She didn't plan on sleeping over. When Lincoln heard the news of his secretary been pregnant for him, he had to go to his usual joint. He didn't know if he was drinking to celebrate, or drinking because he knew that was the end of his career, if his wife found out, so he thought. For 7 years since he had been married, he had no child, and his wife is okay with it. She doesn't want a baby. She doesn't want to lose her shape, not to talk of her succulent breast, she want everything okay the way it is. Even when Lincoln complained bitterly that he needed a baby, Rose doesn't want to listen. She wanted her body intact. This got Lincoln really worried, and oftentimes they quarrel of it. That was the reason why he stayed out late in the office that day, the first day he slept with Judith. And oftentimes, to forget about the ideology of his wife, he had to drink. And to sum it all, his wife owned the company he operates, so he doesn't want to leave the marriage. Where would he start from? What would he do? But again, he doesn't want an adopted baby. When Judith told him she was pregnant, he doesn't know if he was to be happy or sad. How would his wife take it? He doesn't want to lose what he has established with his wife. He loves his wife, and doesn't want to hurt her feelings. The only thing that came to his mind was to abort the baby. But even after taking the decision, and paid Judith for the abortion, he had to go to his major lounge to drink out his sorrows. It was a hard decision for him to take. That night when Charles came back home drunk, and Rose had told Judith to use the bedroom on the left. Judith got so scared, she didn't had intentions of sleeping over. This one, my boss wife is treating me all nice, hope she doesn't have intentions of strangling me to death while I'm sleeping, Judith said to herself, while she was still in the living room. It was already late. When she checked her time, it was 10:57 p.m., and it was too risky for her to go out that night, and also for the fact that her own house was very far from that of her boss. She thought of the risk to take. She decided to take the lesser risk, which was sleeping at her boss's house. At least, her roommate knows the house, in case anything happens to her. Judith called Janice, her roommate, and told her she would be sleeping over at her boss's house. Hello Janice. Hello Judith. Where are you? Have been calling you but you haven't been picking up. Why are you not home yet? I called to inform you that I will be sleeping over at my boss' house. Why? Is everything okay? Yes. I will be back home by tomorrow. I just said I should inform you. Okay, take care. That night was a very long night. Judith couldn't sleep. Any sounds she hears, she would be awake. Many thoughts were running through her mind. At a point, she had to bring out the bucket from the bathroom, and fill water inside, just to put her legs inside the bucket, so that she won't fall deeply asleep. It took forever for morning to reach. When it was finally morning, Rose finally came to Judith's room. It's morning already. Yes, who is it? Come in. Are you awake? Good morning, ma'am. Yes, I'm awake. Your eyes are swollen, and why did you leave a bucket of water here? Did you take any sleep at all? Were you scared that I would harm you? Come on, why would I harm you when I was the one that told you to stay here for the night? You are pregnant and need sleep. You are like a family to us now. Don't be scared. Lincoln would be with us shortly. He is taking his bath. Do you want me to get anything for you to eat for breakfast, or you would just help yourself out in the kitchen? I will prepare something for myself in the kitchen. She was scared of bin poison, plus the fact that something was fishy with the way Rose was acting all nice. Minutes after Rose left, Judith went to the kitchen to prepare something for breakfast for herself. She made breakfast and ate. Before she finished eating, Lincoln was already dressed for work. Rose and Judith were seated in the living room when Lincoln was hurriedly going to work, but Rose told him to wait, that they had something to discuss. Judith was still holding a cup of tea in her hand. She was sipping bit by bit, because it was hot. Lincoln was shocked immediately she saw Judith. He didn't expect to see her. Judith saw the shock on his face. Meanwhile, Rose was smiling. This is what you have always wanted, babe. Your blood, a child with your blood. Said Judith, I and my husband has decided to buy the baby after you give birth. Excuse me, she said as she wasn't expecting it. Judith was shocked, as she didn't expect those words from her boss's wife. How could she even come up with that idea? Lincoln had to tell his wife to meet him in the bedroom, as he also wasn't expecting his wife to come up with the idea of buying another woman's child.
Rose, meet me in the bedroom. Rose, what was that for?
What do you mean?
You want to buy another woman's child.
But the baby is also your child. Your blood, that is what you have always wanted.
I wanted a baby from you. My wife, not from another woman. I want our family to be the perfect family.
We are perfect, Lincoln, I just can't go through the pain of childbirth.
And I have suggested IVF, vitro fertilization, for you.
And I suggested another alternative, like adoption.
You know I don't want an adopted baby. I want a baby from you. From my wife. I don't think I can love an adopted baby. Why don't you want a baby? Our own baby from your womb. A flesh of your flesh.
Years before Lincoln got married to Rose, their relationship was so perfect, they met during their youth service year. Rose was the only child, and daughter of her parents. She was Rose Williams. Chief Williams was one of the wealthiest men in the city, and all he ever wished for, was for the man who would marry his daughter, be willing to take up his last name Williams. And that was when Lincoln came in. Without thinking twice, he agreed on marrying and took the last name of Chief Williams. Rose's mother was late, so Chief Williams treated her only daughter like an egg. When he was dating Rose, and she would always tell him how she doesn't want to give birth, that she couldn't stand it. He thought it was a phase, and she was going to pass that phase eventually when they get married, but she didn't. Lincoln was one of those prodigal sons, who left home at an early age, and never looked back to return back. His father was a very hard, and strict man on him, and Lincoln took it as maltreatment. At some point, he realized that he was an adopted child. It broke him down real bad. That was after his parent gave birth to another baby. When he had the opportunity to go to another city with his friend. When he just in secondary school, he found the courage and left home. He didn't say a word to his parents, and it'd been 15 years. He don't know if his parents were still alive or dead. When he met Rose in the camp, he thought he would be able to love someone again. He had already imagined a beautiful love story with her, but it seems the reverse was the case.
What if she doesn't accept? Have you thought of how she would take the whole thing? Who would even want to sell their baby?
Leave that to me, let's go back to the living room, Rose said, and they both went back to the living room. Lincoln really didn't buy the idea of asking Judith to sell their baby to them. Was Rose going to love the baby? The baby isn't her blood, how is she going to do it? Wait, is she going to kill the baby after the birth just to break me down? Was this all sort of an evil agreement? There were many thoughts running through Lincoln's mind. He didn't want the child to suffer, or maltreated the way his parents did to him, but he couldn't do, nor say anything. He was scared of starting afresh, leaving all he built with Rose. Where will he start from if Rose eventually sent him parking? So he had to play along. Sandra was still sitting in the sitting room waiting for them. So the deal is that you would stay with us till you give birth. What if I don't accept your offer? Then why did you come to my house? Why did you come to tell me that you were pregnant? For my husband to marry you? Like marry you? I just thought that you should know. And now, I know and we have taken our decision. Right, baby? Maybe this is really a bad idea for me coming here in the first place. I would just take my leave. She didn't even take her bath in the house. She quickly went into the bedroom she slept the previous night, took her bag, and headed to the front door. But immediately she was opening the front door, the bodyguard outside the door brought her back to the living room.
Go back inside right now. Where do you think you are going?
I want to go home. You came to me to tell me you were pregnant for my husband, and I accepted you. And now I appreciate you coming to me. 10 million for you to have the baby for me under my roof, and under my watch. And after having the baby, you walk away like nothing ever happened. And this isn't me pleading, you either take the offer or leave it, but you are having the baby under my roof. Judith became really scared, and was looking at Lincoln who couldn't do anything to help. What has she gotten herself into? She thought to herself. She reached out to her phone to call her roommate Janice, after she entered back into the bedroom given to her to sleep in the house. Rose entered the room, just as she was about to make call. I need to call Janice right now. I'm sorry, you won't be needing any mobile phone till after your delivery. Her mobile phone was taken away from her. Later that day, Rose went to Judith's apartment, and paid her roommate Janice off, in request that in case anyone asked of Judith's whereabouts, she should always tell them that Judith left to meet one of her auntie in another city. When Rose went to Judith's house, she met her roommate who was also a promising young lady. Janice was also a beautiful lady. She lived in a safe-contained apartment. She was tall and light-skinned, slim. She was wearing her bum short when she heard a knock on the door. Immediately she opened the door. She met Rose outside. Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, young lady. Who do you seek? I came to see you. Mind if I come in? Sorry, but I don't know you. And you would know me if you let me in. Okay, come in. Thank you. They properly exchanged greetings, and Janice offered Rose a seat to sit down. Immediately Rose entered the room. She saw the room decorated, and Judith's framed picture was mounted on the wall, with Janice's own too. Janice sat, wanting to hear what Rose had to say. Won't you offer me a drink or something? What would you like me to offer you? Water is okay. Janice brought a glass of chilled water almost immediately. I supposed Miss Judith Nicholas is your friend and roommate. Yes. And you are? Rose Williams, wife to Lincoln Williams, of Lincoln Williams firm. Ma'am, Judith works for your husband. Exactly. Do you know where Judith went to yesterday evening? She said she had this urgent meeting with your husband, her boss, that needs urgent attention. Is that all she told you? Yes. Do you know that your roommate is pregnant for my husband? She never told me. That means she isn't your friend really. Your roommate has been having affairs with my husband at my back. She used my inability to give birth, as she has been sleeping with my husband. All we did was to offer her a job. Is it a crime to offer a jobless person a job now? And she had the nerves to come to my house, to tell my husband to marry her. And of course my husband has agreed to marry her. But I would want you to do me a favor. Where does Judith's parents stay? Her parents are late. They died after she graduated from the university in a car accident. She said she has an auntie, but never goes to visit her. So it has been me and her. I'm sorry for the pains she caused you. Rose removed a check from her purse and gave it to Janice. This is a check of $5 million. On the account that, if anyone should ask of the whereabouts of Judith, you will tell the person that Judith went to visit her auntie in another city. But why will I do that? You just said she is staying with you. I want that to be a little secret between us. What would you do when a stranger comes to break your home? I will try to fight. Good. Janice, you are the only friend Judith has, right? Yes, I guess. I'm a good person. That's why I have come to tell you that your roommate is with me and doing greatly okay. She will come back, but not here, to her auntie's house apparently. After much talk and negotiation between the two ladies, Janice finally accepted to go on with Rose's plan. Rose dropped the check on the table, stood up and smiled at Janice. Nice decor you have here. Thank you. I will take my leave now. Again, Lincoln went to work, but couldn't concentrate.
Why would Judith come to my house? Even if she doesn't want to abort the child in her womb, she should have waited for me to come up with a plan.
Recently Lincoln became a regular customer of a beer lounge. He really wanted to figure out what was in his wife's mind. Was she angry? Is she going to chase him away? All his life would be a waste, starting from zero again, starting from the scratch. He couldn't even think about it. After having a few drinks, he decided to go home later at night, just to ask his wife few questions, and he was mindful of the questions he asked. When he got home, he went straight to their bedroom. Rose just finished taking her bath. She was standing next to the window, in their bedroom, with her nightwear only covering her body. She was staring outside from the window.
What if her family comes looking for her?
No one would come for her. She is an orphan. Everything has been sorted out.
What if she reports to the police after she gives birth, and we let her go? What if she tells the police that we forcefully took her baby or something?
But it's your baby too.
But what if?
That is why we would kill her after she gives birth. Immediately Rose made mention of killing Judith. Lincoln became really weak. He had to sit down on the bed helplessly.
We are not killers, we can't possibly kill her.
Why can't we kill her? So that you can continue your sexcapade with her. Do you really actually love me as you claimed? Or you were just here for the money? Like hundreds of thousands of other men. Do you? Lincoln was speechless at that point. He gently stood up from the bed, and went to the bathroom, and took a shower. After he was done showering, he tied his white towel, and went back to the bedroom. He left the bedroom after putting on his night pajamas. He didn't say a word to Rose. By that time, he was already recovering from his drunk self. Lincoln went into Judith's bedroom. Judith was sitting helplessly on the bed. She was crying. Lincoln knocked on her door and entered. Yes, who is it?
Hi. Have you been crying?
Don't touch me, you monster.
You know I didn't mean for any of this to happen.
Have you been drinking?
Yeah, a little. You know I really didn't want any of this to happen.
You allowed your wife cage me here like a prisoner, and you were here saying you didn't want any of this to happen. When Lincoln and Judith had started dating, it felt like something beautiful, even though it was a secret relationship. Judith felt safe with Lincoln. She didn't realize she had fallen this deeply for Lincoln. Lincoln would always tell her that he was working on the divorce papers with his lawyer. But everything felt like a lie now. Judith felt played. She had to keep the relationship as a secret. She had regrets now. She didn't even tell her roommate about her affairs with her boss. She was ashamed of herself now. Who would come to her rescue? Judith felt the world crumbling upon her. One time, when Judith was really on Lincoln's neck, disturbing him when he would file for the divorce, because she wanted to know if she was wasting her time with Lincoln. But Lincoln told her that she meant something special to him, and was working on it. When they went to the hotel, where they usually meet, Lincoln met one of his friend. He told her that the guy was his friend, and he introduced Judith to the guy as his wife-to-be. At that point Judith felt really special. But was that all planned? Was she being used? Many thoughts were running through the mind of Judith. She at some point concluded that she was played like a piece of game by Lincoln. They had gone to series of vacations together like normal couples. Lincoln had always told her how he doesn't feel anything for the wife again, that he just felt pity on her. That's why he is still with her. He told her that if he was done with the building project he had in hand, that was when he would divorce his wife. For over a year since they had been dating, she kept Lincoln as a mystery man from her friend Janice, because that was how Lincoln wanted it to be. Even when the friend noticed the glow of love all over Judith, Judith still never said a word. Even when she wanted to tell her friend all the sweet things Lincoln does for her, she never did, because she loved Lincoln. When it became clear to her that this was just a game to her, that he was just playing her, that was when she went to the office 2 days ago to tell Lincoln the good news, so she thought. The good news that she was pregnant, and Lincoln had the mind to open his mouth to tell her to abort the baby. He didn't even care to think about it. And she didn't see it coming. He told her to abort the baby without thinking about it. She felt used, which was why even without thinking, she decided to go tell Lincoln's wife Rose that she was pregnant for the husband. At first she didn't care to know how Lincoln's wife would feel, because she felt hurt. She had to do something. Lincoln didn't care to know whether she would die during the abortion. He threw the money at her in the office, as if she was a prostitute. It was when she told Rose that she was pregnant for the husband, that she realized that she shouldn't have. Did she go too far? She thought to herself, but she had already told her. There was no reverse. If it was in her power, she would have reversed the statement. When she made that statement, she knew within her that she had broke down Rose. Did you ever love me? Did I really meant something to you? Was I a joke to you? Lincoln, look at me. Did you ever love me?
Yes, I do. I love you, I have always loved you. I'm sorry for all I have put you through.
The kiss between Lincoln and Judith felt so real that they were locked up in the action that they didn't even notice when Rose came in. They were still locked up in the kiss when the glass of wine in Rose's hand fell down and broke. That was the moment they unlocked from the kiss, and Rose gave Lincoln a slap on his cheek. It was as if she was been controlled when she was kissing Lincoln and wasn't able to free herself from it. Immediately they saw Rose and unlocked from the kiss. Rose left the room angrily. Lincoln immediately left Judith to go meet Rose. Judith was still in the room, thinking about what she has gotten herself into. Was Lincoln using a spell on her? Lincoln had already caused enough trouble for her, why would she allow herself to be used? She rubbed her huge stomach gently with her palms. She started walking through and fro of the big bedroom. Maybe this was it. What was Rose going to do to her now? She thought of running away, but of course, there were guards all over the house. How long was she going to run before she get caught? She looked at her stomach, she couldn't take the risk, and she wasn't allowed to use mobile phone in the house. She thought of going to meet Rose to apologize, but what was she going to say? Her life was ruined, so she thought, still thinking in her bedroom. Lincoln had already gone to meet Rose, who this time was in their big matrimonial bedroom. She was sitting and thinking on her bed when Lincoln entered the bedroom. I knew you have been cheating on me. And those secrets 1 week work meeting you have been going to, I knew you were going to meet her. I knew you have been cheating on me for a year now. Spending my money on another woman, when you looked me in the face and always lied to me that you loved me. I gave you everything. You controlled my company. I gave you everything you ever asked for. Why didn't you just walk away, when you couldn't do this thing we call marriage anymore? You disrespect me by kissing your side chick in my house. And your side chick even had the nerves to come to my house to showcase her stomach. To mock me of my inability to give birth.
What do you mean by inability to give birth?
Yes, Lincoln, I can't give birth. That's why I don't want a baby. I am unable to give birth. I have no womb.
Why didn't you tell me?
I was scared that you wouldn't stay. I was scared that you were gonna leave. I had fallen deeply in love with you at the camp. I didn't want to lose you, so I needed a lie to keep you to myself.
That was really selfish of you. You know how much I wanted a baby, how I wanted to carry a baby in my arms, and you lied to me.
I didn't entirely lie. I told you I didn't want a baby and you agreed. You agreed.
I thought you would change your mind. We were still youthful then. I thought when we get married, everything would change, and you would want babies running around this big house.
And I told you we could adopt. I suggested adoption.
I can't adopt a baby. I can't love them, just the same way my parents didn't love me. It will always ring to me that they ain't my child. I can't. I want my flesh and blood.
And you have one coming.
It was a miss.
Don't call that mistake. You didn't do it once or twice. You dated her for over a year. Over a year.
What do I do now?
You have made your choice, obviously. I thought we could work things out. I thought you still felt a thing for me, but it's obvious you have made a decision, faster than I imagined. Since she had the courage to come to me, I wanted her to stay with us, so that I would know, if you would go for her, or me. But it's obvious.
You would have told me about your inability to give birth.
I didn't want to date you in the first place, Lincoln. You made me fall for you. You made me fall deeply for you, that I didn't want to lose you. I felt that losing you would break me down.
This relationship was built on a lie, and anything built on lies can't stand. You made me believe I could change you. I also fell in love with you, but 7 years Rose. A man wants more.
And we never get to sit and talk about it.
There was nothing to talk about.
You started constantly drinking that I couldn't even talk to you no more.
I was thinking about my family, if there were still okay and other things.
Few days ago, when Judith came into this house and told me she was pregnant for you, it broke me.
I'm sorry, babe.
I get it. There is nothing to be sorry about. You have made your choice, I just have to move on.
Everything is happening so fast. The night when I first slept with Judith, I was drunk. But the day I met you, I was on my right senses. I still love you. I know the whole incident with Judith is trying to pull us apart, but I still love you.
You don't know what you want, Lincoln. Let's talk about this tomorrow morning. I will be sleeping in the other guest room. She left the main bedroom, but when she got to the door, she noticed that someone has been eavesdropping. She didn't know who, because the person ran away immediately she opened the door. She went to the other bedroom, and slept till the following morning. The next morning, after Lincoln woke up from the bed and brushed his teeth, he waited patiently for the ladies to also wake up. He was about to take one of the biggest decisions of his life. He felt restless throughout the night. While he slept, he had already told 2 women, in the same house, same day, that he loved them. When he slept at night, he felt that this was a big stone, and all it needed was to be pushed away. Rose, on the other hand, couldn't sleep at night. She cried throughout the night, because it was obvious that she was used, and Lincoln would never forgive her for lying before they got married. She didn't know what came over her. She felt that letting Lincoln handle her father's money would make him not to be bothered of having a child, but she was wrong. She should have told him from the onset. She blamed herself all through the night, and she was ready to be okay with any decision Lincoln will take. The night was a long night, and it took forever for morning to reach. Judith as well couldn't sleep at night, as she overheard Lincoln telling Rose that he also loved her. "That son of devil, I'm been fooled all this time," Judith muttered in her bedroom. What will become of her when Lincoln finally abandons her? A single mother, she had already sworn not to give out her baby to Rose to take care of. It was a tough decision for her, but that was what has to be done. The night was a long night, as the 3 people waited in their different bedroom for the morning. None of them could get a proper sleep. When it was already morning, they took their bath, and brushed their tooth. Lincoln had already called the ladies to come to the sitting room. Rose was in the kitchen, preparing breakfast when Lincoln called. The 2 ladies came to the sitting room and sat down, waiting to hear what Lincoln had to say.
This is a tough decision for me to make.
Lincoln said and paused. He looked at Judith, and looked at Rose. He saw that fire burning in their eyes, and he was very mindful of the words coming out of his mouth.
This is really a tough decision for me to make. Judith, I'm really sorry for what I have put you through. I know asking you to abort our baby was really unwise, foolish of me, and uncaring. I was just scared. I didn't want to hurt my wife. I'm sorry that I led you on. But I had given it a proper and thorough thought through the night. I would be responsible for the upkeep and care of our child, but I cannot marry you. I'm sorry, but I'm already happily married, and I really still love Rose. I cannot destroy what we have. I'm sorry.
Tears dropped down Judith's eye. At that moment, she couldn't figure out if it was tears of losing the one man she truly loved, or was it tears that she was finally going to be free from the prison she had been in for the past couple of days.
My dear wife, I'm deeply sorry for hurting you. I didn't know what came over me. I thought I wanted more, when you were the more I ever needed.
But I lied.
I lied too.
I'm sorry for lying.
Judith, I'm sorry, but you would be staying with your friend Janice in your apartment before I finally rent an apartment for you. We wouldn't want any more dramas than we already had. I will be coming time to check up on you and the baby. When the baby is born, he is ever welcome to this house, since the child is also family.
Judith felt betrayed. She was played just as she had imagined. After the whole conversation and family drama, Judith was taken to her apartment, where she stayed with a friend and roommate Janice for a couple of months, before Lincoln rented another apartment for her. After everything that had happened, Lincoln went to meet his father-in-law, together with his wife Rose.
I heard everything that happened between you and my daughter. And I'm proud of the way you handled it. And I apologize for my daughter lying to you, and I thank you for accepting her back.
After the meeting with the father, Lincoln went into his car and drove his wife to the house. Lincoln was happy that he hadn't lose what he spent years working for. Couple of months later, Judith gave birth to a baby boy. Lincoln and Rose went to visit her. As a single lady, for you to continue dating a married man, because he promised you that he would divorce his wife. You are at your own risk. A man can tell you anything to get under your skirt. A man knows why he married his wife. As an outsider or side chick. It will take the grace of God for you to break whatever the man has going on with his wife. Dear single ladies, don't be unwise.